Hey, what's up, Twitch? It's a Wednesday, and you know what that means, right? It's time for another episode of Patch Notes. Well, my name is Ray Apollo, and I am very happy because today is the first episode of Patch Notes that I both produced it and I'm hosting it. So, if anything goes wrong, my name is actually Zach Ryan. But today, I am joined by one of my very good friends, Dan Clancy. DJ Clancy, how you feeling today, Dan? What's going on?
Zach, it's great to be here with you. Let me just say that. First of all, it is. I'm excited to be here. I always enjoy Patch Notes, and I'm glad getting to do another one with you, Ray.
This is our first one for the year.
Fun. Yeah.
Well, the first one for the two of us, anyway. Yeah. So
I know, and
I'm excited.
And I realized, by the way, because for those listening, they have ad lib banter that's in the script. So I've got some good ad lib banter. Right? One thing that we don't have here is we're not talking about the Streamer Awards, and I got back.
Want to talk about
it?
That
was a lot of fun this weekend.
I saw you
I was
up there.
down there. I know, but it was great to see a whole bunch of streamers. It was whenever you get together, much like TwitchCon, when you get together in real life with a bunch of just Twitch streamers, it's really just wonderful, right? Because you get a sense of the diversity of what's going on. And I think that's one thing, when you look at the diversity of creators that, were at the Streamer Awards and won the Streamer Awards, it really highlights, how much is happening at Twitch. So it was a great weekend. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it looks like y'all had a lot of fun, which was super cool to see. But I saw I have to mention this comment real quick because you talked about the ad-libbing, the banter. Somebody goes, "There's a script." Yeah, you expect me to say off the top of my head? That's wild. No, of course it's scripted. Why wouldn't it be?
Well, I will say,
but it is.
The interesting thing is, I think that's one thing that, as I've started doing it, for me, I find the script very hard to deal with because it's like, what? I'm supposed to read something? So I think we've moved it. It's a guideline. Yeah. I wouldn't call it a script. It's a guideline.
Right. And speaking of, hey, chat, if it's your first time tuning in, hey, welcome. Patch Notes is the monthly show that takes the important changes and releases over the past month. We consolidate them into one stream, and we welcome Twitch staff as our guests to talk more about the products and changes that they are working on. So, Dan, we want the chat to be involved. How can they chat
Yes,
with
we
us?
do. We do. We've got a lot to cover today, but before that, don't forget, chat, once you get involved, we have a Q&A session at the end, okay? Get your questions ready. Use the Twitch Ask extension, which is !ask, okay? So it's the extension below. There's a extension, or if you just do !ask, and I think they've gone ahead and pinned the submit questions in chat. Yep, it's pinned there in chat right now. So use that or !ask. And then we'll also keep an eye on chat as we go along too, but we'll answer all the questions at the end.
Absolutely. So that's all our housekeeping, got out of the way. So, chat, without any further ado, let's get this month's episode going. Dan, what's our first topic for today? Yeah.
Our first topic is raids browser improvement. So. As everyone here knows, raids are a very effective way for streamers to grow their audience, especially for smaller communities. It's also a great way that as a streamer that you share with other streamers. There's nothing better than when you're finishing up, you raid, you get that excitement, thanks for the raid. We do know from research that streamers often struggle to find someone they want to raid at a given point in time while they're live, and often resort to raiding the same people they always do. So we've been experimenting with making it easier to find amazing communities to raid at the end of your stream. I know I sometimes love the fact when I go on a stream that I may not know well, and in fact I find out more about that stream because of the raid.
Right. Yeah, and this is something I also struggle with because, it is hard to stream and then be ending a stream and then also trying to figure out somebody else to take the stream to after the fact. So I am excited that this is something that we're adding. So this is an experiment, by the way. So streamers in this experiment can click the raid channel quick action button, which you can see here on the screen in your stream manager to see an updated model with the stream preview suggested for you. The streamers can filter through the suggestions by viewer count, uptime, category, raid history, and more. The channels suggested are also going to be determined by the same recommendation model that suggests channels to watch on your homepage based on your personal viewing history and general viewership trends on Twitch. So that being said, Dan, what are we as Twitch hoping to learn from this experiment?
So what we've done here is, with this experiment, is sort the recommendations based on criteria we know streamers use to determine who they'll raid next. Things like streamers within similar or smaller size communities, streamers you follow or have previously rated you, streamers streaming the same or similar category as your most recent stream. The experiment rolled out last week, right? And we'll continue to monitor feedback from user voice before deciding to roll it out to more streamers to see if this is helping people. I know for me, I usually, by default, just go to look at my left-hand nav. Because I just go and I look to say, who are the people I follow that are live right now? And often they're very interesting streamers that I don't have in that list. Because, of course, whenever you stop, it just depends upon if I'm stopping late. So I think this will be a fun feature.
Yeah, absolutely. It is one of those things where I'm like, I'm also that guy's like, well, who can I see immediately? And that's kind of how I make that decision. So this will help me make a more informed decision, which hopefully I get to use this and try it out to see what's going on with these raids. And raids are great, by the way. I love raids. And, I saw some Twitter chatter this weekend. It's like, you don't always have to raid, but, raiding is good for you as a creator looking to grow. So
now, and actually, we don't have this. This wasn't part of the features, but evidently there's an experiment going right now that I'm looking forward to where we roll it out fully, which is when you raid somebody, prior to that raid, if you want, you can click that you'd be, interested or willing to go up on their channel with an audio-only line using Stream Together. Because I know for me, the feature I would love, both when someone raids me, is sometimes invite them up, if I want to chat with them, depending upon what I'm doing. And similarly, when I raid somebody, because often they're like asking me, how is your stream? What are you doing? And I'm sitting there typing in, right? And I'm trying to talk to them through chat. And it'd be so much easier if I just spent, 3 minutes chatting with them when I rated them. Right. And especially if I know them already, and that keeps the audience there a little more. So that's something we're trying out with Stream Together, where you can just have an audio channel and it can go through desktop audio. So I'm excited when that finally gets out.
I'm also very excited about that. That is something we had joked about in the past on this show. So I'm glad to see that is something that is going to be real. I really like that idea a lot. But speaking of other ideas that we need to talk about today. All right, Dan, it is time to move on to our feature topic of the show. So, Dan, what's our feature topic this week?
So the feature topic is, of course, the announcement we made yesterday regarding the pricing changes that we're going to be in terms of subscription pricing. And we are welcoming our guest today. He's our only guest, Victor Penela. And Victor, welcome, Victor.
Victor,
hello.
What's going on? Hey,
how's it going?
All right.
Great. All right. So, Victor, tell us a bit about your role at Twitch before we dive in.
Yeah, I don't have ad-lib banter on my script, so I think that means I need to jump directly into business. I work on what we internally call commerce products, which means any product where the viewer is the one paying to support the streamer. So all the features that our community knows and loves, like channel subs, gifted subs, bits and cheering, turbo, and our team also works on all the things that make these products fun to use. So emotes, badges, hype trains, alerts, you name it.
And then, of course,
Excellent.
You also spend a significant amount of time responding to my annoying questions too, right? That's
not part of the job. That's just joy on my side. Yes.
What you did there. Oh, no. Well, Victor, thank you so much for being on the show today. We really appreciate it. We decided to give Mike some time off since he's already been live a lot already. So, but chat, as Dan and Victor said, we heard from Mike yesterday about the price, and that's Mike Minton, about the price increase that we've posted about in the blog. There's a lot of good information there already, but can you just give us the key details about what we talked about in that blog, Victor?
Absolutely. So yesterday we announced we're increasing prices in some countries. We're increasing the price of tier 1 subscriptions in Australia, Canada, and UK. You can see them on screen right now. All price, new price, all in their local currencies. In Turkey, we're increasing the price of the 3 tiers of subscription. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And again, you can see them here as well. This price change applies to both subscriptions and gifted subscriptions on web. We will update prices on mobile apps in the coming months. Those are remaining the same price as before. These price changes will go into effect on March 28th. And as Ray was saying, you can find all details in our blog post, or you can just go and watch an hour of Mike Minton talking through this just yesterday. We'll try to recap most of that.
Great. All right. And so, Victor, tell us, why are they increasing, in these places in particular?
Yes. So let's jump directly into the why. So Twitch has not increased price on subscriptions since they launched, more than a decade ago. So it's been a minute. In most countries, we actually decreased prices in 2021 as we move into localized pricing. And the reality is that the dollar or the pound or the lira, they're stretching as far as they used to 10 years ago for streamers. So we're updating prices to help streamers' revenue keep pace with rising costs and reflect local currency fluctuations in places like Turkey. And then obviously the increased revenue per subscription that Twitch receives also helps us continue to build for the long-term future of streaming. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so what should subscribers know about the price increase?
Yeah, let's talk subscribers first. So existing subscribers, including multi-month, will automatically renew at the new price on their next billing cycle after March 28th. No action needed on their side if they want to continue supporting their favorite streamers. We will, though, notify all subscribers in these markets through email at least 1 month ahead of the price change, so they can make any decisions they need to make, as well as just cancel if they decide to do so. And then as an important reminder, we have existing discounts on multi-month subscriptions, 10% off on 3 months, 15% off in 6 months. Those automatically apply. You just need to go and select them. So if you want to lock down a cheaper price for a longer period, like these discounts actually fundamentally negate some of the price increases in some cases. So this is definitely consider moving to one of these options if you want to keep cheaper prices for longer.
Well, in fact, Victor, for clarity, because I expect some folk will wonder about this, when you buy a 3-month subscription, suppose I went on someone's channel and bought a 3-month subscription in one of these countries, since you are buying that now, then you're paying the current price and you have a 3-month subscription. So in fact, you won't be charged more if you buy a 6-month subscription. You're not charged more in that window once the price goes up.
Yes.
Correct?
Exactly. We will, if you're buying let's say a 6-month subscription today, you will not see any price increases until 6 months from March 28th.
So it's a good call out. Right, that if there's a streamer that you are, you've been subscribing for a while, it's quite reasonable that you can buy a 6-month subscription now. You both get the 15% off discount, and then also that will keep going after the price increase. Yep.
Absolutely. So as some would say, get them while you got them, all right? But that being said, of course, we want our streamers to feel the same level of support, but we're mindful that viewers should only subscribe as they are able. So you've got to take care of yourselves first, all right? Please remember that, chat. Take care of yourself first. Stand no business for yourself first, then help others. So what should they do if they need to change the subscription right now?
Totally. So as a reminder, you can cancel a subscription at any time. No need to jump through hoops. You just go to the subscriptions page. You'll see a list of all your subs and an easy way to cancel them at any time. You can also upgrade, extend, again, anytime. You don't need to wait for a price change. You can do it today if you want to. If you decide to cancel, you will continue to receive the sub benefits until the expiration date. So again, if your expiration date is 2 weeks from now, you're still enjoying the sub until that point.
Gotcha.
All right.
Well, like I said, viewers, we want to make sure that our viewers are taken care of just as we want to take care of our streamers. So let's start a conversation about what our streamers can expect with this increase.
Yeah, totally. Let's talk streamers. So what are the key things you need to remember? So streamers will continue to receive the same net revenue share on recurring subs and gifted subs. 50-50, 70-30, whatever you have right now. We're not changing any of that. What the price increase means, though, is that you'll receive more per subscription and gifted sub. Say you're on 70/30 and we're increasing the price for that subscriber by $1. You're going to be making 70 cents more per sub. So again, since it's revenue share, you're benefiting from the price increase in that manner. We also like to put this in the context of all the other things that we are doing that affect how you make money on Twitch. So again, just a reminder of all things that we've been talking. Now you guys have covered in past patch notes. We are expanding the partner program, now called Plus program, starting on May 1st. So now you can get 60/40 with 100 plus points, 70/30 with 300 plus points. Remember that May 1st is when the new rev shares come into play. But February, so right now, if my calendar is right, is the first month where the qualification process starts. So if you're close to the threshold, if you're at 90 points, definitely consider trying to hit those numbers in February so you can benefit in May when the new payouts come, the new rev shares come into play. And then the last reminder, Prime Sub payouts are changing. We announced that a few weeks back. They come, a new fixed rate per country that we announced, and it's public on our help page, comes into effect on June 3rd. And then just going back to the price change in itself and kind of connecting back to the why, do remember that since the streamers earn a revenue share of the subscriptions, streamers and Twitch, we have our incentives aligned. We wouldn't do this unless we believe that this will drive a revenue increase. Our expectation is that there may be some decrease in subscribers, but that will be outweighed by the increase in revenue from the remaining supporters. And again, Mike was talking yesterday about all the big brain people that have been doing math. Like, we believe this is going to be positive, and that's why we're doing it. We would not do this if we thought that this would be negatively impactful for streamers, because we'll be impacted as well.
Yeah. So, Victor, why don't you talk about why these 4 countries?
Yes. So we wanted to start with the countries where we believe we can have a positive outcome. And that's where the selection came into play. Pricing changes are complicated, and we want to make them in a pre-conscious way. So these might not be the last ones. We'll always look into which countries where would a change like this be beneficial for streamers. Don't expect that we'll be making price changes all the time. It's something we plan to only do infrequently, and we'll obviously notify everybody with well ahead of time.
Yeah. So, and I know I'll speak a little bit on this, because obviously, anytime you change prices, that's always something for the viewers they'd rather not have you do. But our streamers, there's been lots of changes in various economies. The exchange rate, this is part of what happened in Turkey. There was a great deal of inflation, which means that the sub price is well below, and this will, we didn't talk about it much, but I think this will make a meaningful change in Turkey. And in fact, one of the biggest requests I've gotten from Turkish streamers is, please, you need to increase the sub price. And I think we do have some data from discounts and other things that we have a great deal of confidence that because of the nature of our patronage product, that the delta of the change is not significant. And so therefore, what we will see is more money in streamers' pockets. We really appreciate the support that our creators provide for our streamers. This is something that lots of streamers, especially in Europe, in a number of countries, have been asking me about, I know, for a while. Will you consider increasing it? So I know there are going to be lots of views on this. There always are. These are always tricky things to do. But as you highlighted, Victor, I think this will be clearly beneficial for our streamers. And we'll learn in terms of, in fact, getting to a question that I'm sure we'll have. So we might as well get ahead of it. We're starting with these 4 countries, okay? Obviously, we're going to learn as we consider this, and as we would make changes in other countries, then we will use that to get a sense of what is the right price in those other countries, because it's, there's a lot of data you get these countries in terms of the percentage change. It's different. So this is not something that we will do very frequently. So we want to do it with care.
Completely.
All right. So, Victor, you want to talk more about what we're planning for the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So just touch on a few things that we have on the book. So we continued whole September. We were planning more events like that. Bonus round last year drove a lot of interest, a lot of hype, a lot of good results. We plan to keep doing more like that. Just doing a quick plug on Turbo. Obviously, none of the changes we're talking about today have any impact on Turbo or are meant to change Turbo. But we want to keep growing Turbo. We've seen a lot of value. The folks that use it love it. Has really strong retention. And one important fact that we've shared in the past: Turbo users are twice as likely to also be channel subscribers as regular subscribers. So Turbo is not in itself a detriment to people getting subs. In addition, streamers also receive Turbo revenue. You can go and check that in your dashboard today. We plan to keep growing Turbo, and we believe it's another good venue for streamers to keep making more revenue. And then lastly, as I was talking at the beginning of what my team does, subscriptions, bits and cheering, gifted subscriptions, these things are critical for us. It's a top priority for us within Twitch to keep growing them and to keep making them better. And I'm excited about a few things we're cooking right now that hopefully you'll see in the next few months.
Great. So remind us when these changes go into effect, Victor.
Yeah, if you want to only remember a couple of small details. So again, price increases coming in some countries. We'll be notifying subscribers starting next week. They will be able to cancel at any time. Also, please do remember, Plus program begins in May, but you start qualifying right now in February. So do keep an eye on where you are and if you can get to the new thresholds. And then lastly, come June 3rd, we're moving Prime into new fixed payout rates per country. So go and check them out. They're already available.
All right, great. So Victor, thank you for joining us to talk about the price changes. Stick around in the Q&A. I'm sure there'll be more questions. And I think we're going to include some links here for more information. Check out the Help Center to find the prices by country. Streamer can find their payout information in their dashboard. And we're always looking for feedback on user voice. So Victor, thanks for being here, and we'll bring you back on in a little while.
Please do use user voice. We read all of that. Thank you.
You heard him, Chad. User voice. Use it. So thank you so much for having that conversation. I really appreciate it. I'm pretty sure a lot of folks also appreciate how candid you guys could be having those conversations. So moving on, we're going to go on to one of our other touch points for today. So we get to tell you guys about the Help Center's open feedback for comments now. So I don't know if you use so what I need to say is, chat, you need to be using the Help Center. If you're not using the Help Center, it is one of the most pivotal places that you can go and look to learn things about Twitch, period. If you need more technical details about something, Help Center probably has it. So the Help Center provides information on products, features, and tools through frequently asked questions, or FAQs, if you will, for troubleshooting guides and user manuals. And at the bottom of an article on the Help Center, readers can volunteer a thumbs up or a thumbs down rating. You know what those mean, respectively. These ratings help our teams better understand and prioritize how to update the content to meet your needs. So Dan, now I know this isn't like new to the internet, but it's also very good for us to have in terms of our technical know-how and manuals that we provide to folks.
I do think, it's one of those things that it's often easily overlooked, but I think it's really critically important. I know, there are lots of articles in the Help Center that I don't read because I may know the information. And I think giving feedback when something is effectively communicating the information is really helpful, because we have a team that tries to make sure that we get the information in the Help Center that is relevant to your questions. We get a lot of questions here. I'll go ahead and answer some of them. So help us figure out when the Help Center doesn't quite hit the mark, and the team there will then try and continue to improve it.
Right. And some folks will be like, well, what's the difference between Creator Camp and the Help Center? Well, the Help Center is for your very technical know-how. How do I do this? How does this work at Twitch? And the Creator Camp, we're more about processes and giving you ideas to grow and, be a better streamer and just Twitch in general. So there is a difference there. But I also link a lot to the Help Center in all of our Creator Camp articles. So
and frequently, one way to think of it is most people, when they access the Help Center, they come from a link from something else they're reading or a Google search. And in fact, Google search probably being the biggest one, because someone will search, how do I do this? What is this? And Help Center is designed so that it's near the top of your Google searches when you have questions or people link directly. People don't just go browse the Help Center.
Right.
When you have a question,
I mean, and
go
if
to
you
Google
do,
to
I
ask the
mean,
question.
no shade
Great.
to you if you do. Absolutely. All right. So recently we opened comments on the article feedback. So when a user selects that there's missing information in an article as a reason for rating an article negatively, the reader can request specific information or clarity there in this open feedback section. So our goal with this is to make sure that our guides are meeting your needs, and this comment field allows us to correlate and analyze responses better to help us understand, and again, like I said earlier, to help us prioritize what we need to update if it's negatively impacting your experience or we're just missing a lot of information in a specific place at a higher rate than others. I know in the future they might open comments for more additional rating options, but for right now it's just for the missing information first. And then if it works out and this is something you guys really want, you can tell us in user voice, by the way. That's something they might do for the other choices as well. All right, so that is our Help Center update. Now we have another wonderful update that I'm excited about because we talk about this all the time, at least on this show anyway. We're going to talk about the Twitch Stories update because yes, Twitch Stories, we rolled those out last year and on mobile to help you stay connected with your communities when you're not live, which is me often. Active affiliates and partners can create short posts using photos, clips, and text, your custom channel emotes over backgrounds that expire about 48 hours. 48 hours after posting. You can also tag fellow Twitch users to let them know about the upcoming guests on your stream and send love to a fellow streamer or shout out your most engaged followers, because who doesn't love a good shout out, especially when it's one of your favorite people like my good friend RSS, who I'm shouting out right now, who's in chat. Viewers can also watch these stories from streamers they follow and react to them at the top of the page or by clicking on their avatar on the mobile channel page. So, Dan, what's happening with these updates?
A few updates in the next months. So we're adding pinch to zoom so streamers can resize and move their photos in their stories. Makes it easier to create content. Making it so streamers can upload portrait clips using the clip editor to make it more portrait friendly, and versions of clips that now you can directly to stories. I know for me, I'll use the clip editor a lot, and I think that'll be a lot better to have the ability to have portrait clips. And then you'll also be able to share other streamers' feature portrait clips anywhere you find shareable clips on the app. So if you find a shareable clip that you like, you will be able to share that clip so that your community sees it. So if there are things you like that you think, oh, this was cool, I saw this, I want this, go ahead and you can share that.
I love it. That makes me happy to see, because then now I can share a bunch of Genticles' Helldivers 2 clips, which have been absolutely hilarious to watch, by the way. So I'm looking forward to that.
I thought you were going to say you could share clips from my stream, Ray.
I mean, Dan, that was like obviously the next thing I was going to say. You just got there before I did. Wow. Right? I mean, I saw you playing Fortnite. I'm going to share some of those clips. Don't worry. I'm going to let people know.
There you go.
Chat, we're also working towards bringing video and more features to stories to help streamers create more engaging content. So please stay tuned for those updates and continue to share your feedback via, that's right, user voice. We would love to see more of it. Well, chat, this is kind of wild because I hate to tell you, we've already hit the Q&A section of this much patch notes. We didn't have a whole lot, but we did have a really big important announcement with the price increase. We want to make sure we got it. So if you haven't put in a question, you would like to put in a question, you still have time, I think. So exclamation point ask before your question, so it is seen by the mods and the folks who are making sure that we can get that question answered for you. So I guess we're just going to start jumping into them, Dan. And a few of these we can kind of handle ourselves before we bring Victor back. So let's start with Genomini LVTV. They would like to know, are there any plans to release old usernames?
All right. So for inactive usernames are recycled periodically and made available for new users in batches. You can determine if a username is available using our rename tool found in your profile settings. Okay. That means, is it active right now? One of the challenges in terms of old usernames is we need to make sure that this person truly isn't like going to be using it, because someone may create an account and not use the account for a year or 2 years. That doesn't mean they lose their username. So that's one thing that people often don't appreciate, that, these old usernames, they may still have that account. And if they still have that account, then that's still their username. Now, sometimes the accounts are no longer there, but often it is the fact that somebody has the account. The other thing is, of course, if somebody gets suspended, indefinitely suspended, but their username should still be there. We don't want other people using that username. So I know a lot of folks that would like us to be able to release more. When we can, we do it in batches, but often it's sort of difficult to determine, is this username really something that can be released and somebody doesn't still have the ability to access it.
Gotcha. And if you want to know more about, usernames and all that, bet you can find an answer on the Help Center. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Ionara asks, can we still use the old raid command instead of this new thing? ? Some of us don't feel safe raiding random strangers. Valid.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Old raid command still works. This is simply trying to help you find someone that you might want to raid, not forcing you to choose any of them. Often you know who you want to raid. You don't want to raid someone you don't know because you're transferring your audience over to them. So it's important.
It's a good question. Yep. K.GN would like to know, can we make it as mobile mods having the same control as, can we make it, I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. Can we make it so as mobile mods we have the same control as PC mods? ?
Yeah. So this is an area of investment for us this year, and look for updates as the year progresses, but agree completely. I think a lot of times you're modding somebody, you're on the go, you want to be able to have all the capabilities on your mobile phone as you do when you're at your desktop, because especially when you're modding, you may not be sitting there in front of your desktop. You may need to go somewhere, but you still want to be able to support your stream.
Yeah, I know that my mods ask me this fairly often, so I'm looking forward to that too. So thank you for that question. Let's see. The next question is also about moderation, and this comes from Oracle Chick. I hope I read that right. Any thoughts on providing more roles to streamers? ? Splitting out the ability to run ads from editors, a super moderator role that has more controls than just a regular moderator, etc. Even the ability to customize the things your moderators and editors can do.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting question.
Good question. Good suggestion. So there is a team that's thinking about roles, specifically the role of moderators. We don't have any specific plans in this area, but leave feedback in user voice. I think it comes down to the specific idea, right? And one of the ideas I'm pulling from this is the ability to run ads from editors if you need to offer that. I will say this. In general, as you add more roles and more things, it does add complexity. And one of the challenges comes in that then there's always a balance between simplicity and complexity and power. And there's always a tension because, in fact, products that are more powerful is great for the power user, but it can be more challenging for other users to handle that complexity.
Yes, one of my favorite phrases of there's a risk of too many cooks in the kitchen, which if you've had too many cooks in the kitchen, it is a little bit of a mess, and I would know. So next question comes from Mr. Snow Shark. Never seen a shark in snow in my life. They ask, with using enhanced RTMP, would there be a possibility of having multi-audio track support so the viewer can change the volume of specific audio channels?
Yeah. So I think this is absolutely an interesting idea. The underlying technology supports multi-track audio, okay, but we haven't explored yet beyond the VOD audio track how else we might take advantage of extra audio tracks. I know from firsthand experience, audio is one of the biggest challenges in streaming. I know with Stream Together, that's one of the biggest challenges. So I think it's it's an interesting idea of being able to use that capability.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, any streamer that can get on stream and not be muted is a excellent streamer in my book. So, yeah, sound is hard. All right, it's very difficult. So, I also look forward to any changes we might work on that in the future. Last question before we bring Victor back. So this is about Partner Plus and the Florials. I'm going to say it that way. They ask, will we ever be able to set goals for Partner Plus? With the goal bars we put in our overlays, like we have with new subs, sub points, and followers.
Yeah, so actively working on this so that way if you want to create this, of course, it's just if you want to create it, you can set a goal to so that your community sees how you're tracking, keeps focused on that, and then can support you so that you can qualify.
Yeah, so that is something that they are working on. So that's good news for you. Excellent question. All right, well, now we're going to bring Victor back to answer some questions about sub pricing. Welcome back, Victor. I told you that there was going to be some questions for you, and there are quite a few.
I've been here all the time. I never moved.
All right, so I have a question from, love this name, the Family Jewel. Asks, on the subject of subs, can there be an option implemented where you can subscribe yourself for 1 year? ? Currently there is a max of 6 months, but 1 year would greatly help from a financial and planning standpoint for myself and others.
It's something we've looked into. I don't want to make any promises right now. It might come up at some point. We do want to find a balance between having way too many options if the value of the new options is small. So in this one, the reason why we have not done it up until now is, well, 6 months exists. So sure, 12 months is slightly better. It's only slightly. And if we add 12 months, it means now we have 12 options for viewers to choose, plus Prime. It can get super confusing. So again, not a no, something we might do. We want to be careful about not making it too complicated to figure out what's the right plan for you.
All right, well, I hope that answers your question, Family Jewel. The next question comes from Hydrasung. Keep these usernames I can actually say coming. I really appreciate that. They ask, when will the US see subscription price increases? ? If we base it off Canada's price raises, should we expect a tier 1 sub to be $7 or $8 per month?
So kind of echoing what Mike said yesterday and what Dan touched on as well, we want to be pretty careful about price changes. They're complicated. We want to be conscious about them. We want to make sure everybody knows ahead of time. We don't have a decision for US right now, but we will definitely do a price increase if we believe it's going to be positive for streamers. So some of the changes we're doing right now, we're trying to learn where potential price increases could drive similar, if not more, value to streamers. So no decision right now, but it's definitely something we're actively looking into. And again, we believe we should do that on the benefit of streamers. So this is one where we're trying to work back from what can we do with prices that helps streamers grow.
All right.
Great.
Next question is for, unless Dan, did you want to add something to that?
Nope, that's good.
Okay, just
Keep
wanted to be
going,
sure.
Ray.
All right. Next question comes from Ali Animus. When will we support tier 2? When will mobile support tier 2 and tier 3 subs? Considering how crucial this is for the 70-30 split, I feel like most users are on mobile, so the fact that it's not supported, does affect it.
So the short answer is I don't have an answer for it. Like, we don't know when we will do it. Now, the good news, or one of the reasons we're not moving super fast with T2 and T3 on mobile, is that we're going through a pretty big redesign and rebuild of mobile commerce products. So subscriptions, gifting, bits and cheering. If you open your mobile app right now, let's be realistic, it's not up to where we would like that to be. So before we add more options, we want to fundamentally rebuild from scratch. Late last December or late last year, we launched a new version as an experiment for gifting to a channel you're already subscribed. So if you go into that, you'll see that experience is significantly different. And we've seen really good results from that. So what you will see in the next few months is a complete rebuild of the mobile subscription, gifting, bits and cheering products. And once we have that, hopefully that drives a lot of value for viewers and makes it easier to purchase whatever you're looking for. at that point is when we plan to start bringing all the incremental things that mobile doesn't have right now. T23, a better way of seeing that a hype train is going on and then jump into it and whatnot. But we want to first rebuild the base because it's been a minute since we improved that, and we believe that can drive a lot of value on mobile first.
Okay, Victor, this is the last one for you, my friend, and then we can cut you loose to go on about and do what you need to do. So, this last question comes from Captain Seb T, and they ask, will Prime subs reflect this price increase in terms of revenue streamers make?
Yeah, I think we touched on this on the announcement. Since we're moving to a new fixed payout logic in June, and this is starting literally the last week of March, we've decided to keep the Prime payouts in the same value they are today until June. So if you were making whatever dollars per Prime sub in one of these countries, through these changes, through April and May, you're going to be making the exact same dollar value. And then in June, the new fixed rates will come into place.
Yeah. Gotcha. By the way, I'm going to, I saw one of the chats in question, a question in chat where someone asked, well, since inflation is going up, it has gone up in the U.S., does that mean we decrease the price of a sub in the U.S.? And I just wanted to explain how this inflation affects the price of a sub. So let's assume you're a streamer, okay, and there's a current price of a sub, but inflation goes up. What usually that means now is prices go up. So what happens is a streamer, maybe the cost of a hamburger goes up, so it costs them more to buy a hamburger, but the amount they're making from Twitch stays the same. So usually the way inflation works is over time, the increase spreads throughout other services that you might use because the cost of transportation, the cost of providing goods, the cost to our streamers. So this is one reason, given that we have not touched this, I think it's in the US since 2011, I think is actually the date when we said it. We think it is beneficial to look at this. And so, in fact, inflation usually causes you to consider to raise the price. And Turkey is a good example of that, where inflation went very high. The exchange rate went down, and it got to where the value of a sub just could do very little. So that's the area where we're having the biggest change.
All right.
Well, I think we're good with Victor, right?
Victor, you are free to go.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being on this episode of Patch Notes. You were wonderful. I really appreciate you. And I'm sure we'll probably have you on at some point in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Thank you so much, folks.
All right.
Thanks.
It easy, Victor.
And by the way, Ray, I know we don't have any more questions in the sheet, but I've been keeping an eye on chat. And I think given that we have some time, it may be useful to pick out some questions in chat.
Absolutely. Go for it if you want to. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And then I also actually have a question for you from the chat if you want to answer that first.
Well, let me answer. That's a great one. Let me pick this one, and then you go ahead and pick one. And we'll just go back and forth. You can pick out one. I'll pick out one. So Aiden said, why the price increase? I'm no longer able to support my streamers. Is this Twitch due to Twitch losing money? This has nothing to do with Twitch in terms of how we're doing. If for any reason, we greatly appreciate your ability to support our streamers. Of course, a subscription is not the only way to support a streamer. And we realize some people might decide that they can't afford it, in which case bits is a great way, and cheering is also a great way to support streamers. So I think it's one thing to remember in general. There are lots of ways to support your streamers, with subscriptions just being one of them. All right, you go ahead and pick one. And by the way, let's do this. Right. Let's just keep the camera on both of us because we'll go back and forth in terms of Ray asking a question, me asking a question. That way you don't have to guess.
All right, that sounds good to me. Well, Dan, this one's a good one for you, and I'm actually also interested in the answer for this one. CatSid48 asks, is a new Dan in the Van event for the EU region planned this or next year?
Yep. All right, so first of all, for EU, I'm going to do a variation of Dan in the Van. I'm still finalizing the name, but I think I'm going to call it Dan's European Vacation. Now, it won't actually be a vacation. But I also thought, in fact, I welcome suggestions. I also considered Dan's Eurail Pass. but Dan's European vacation just seemed to work better than the Euro Pass because
I'm gonna
my
go with
plan
that one too.
is
Yeah.
yeah, my plan is to go over there about 2 weeks prior to TwitchCon. Probably start down and in Spain, okay, and then take some trains, like pick some stops, and kind of pogo stick my way up to TwitchCon. And I'm hoping then after that to possibly go to Norway and Sweden and the Nordic countries, because I will kind of make my way up. And then after TwitchCon, might go over to the Nordic countries is I'm hoping to do. I'm also going out to, I'm actually going to Europe next week. Another question I saw in here was, when did TwitchCon EU tickets go on sale? Which I think it's public. And if not, I will go ahead and let it out now that it's next week. And in fact, I'll be out in Europe with some streamers. And I'm going to Amsterdam and Rotterdam. So we're excited that people can start buying tickets and making their plans. And then I'm also going to Japan and Australia and Taiwan, and that is the end of April. Okay, the end of April. And then the final part is I am planning to do another trip in the U.S. in the end of the summer. So I'm going to do it in the Midwest. I'm going to head out to Minnesota. I'm doing a half Ironman as part of this with a number of streamers.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I'm doing a half Ironman with a number of streamers. Then I'm actually probably going to make my way to TwitchCon from there. And then just to throw it in, I'm actually going to do a full Ironman. And I don't know if I have any streamers that have totally committed to do the full Ironman with me in Phoenix in November. So I'm planning to do a full one in Phoenix in November and a half in Wisconsin in September. Any streamer that's up for doing it, where I see Rob there, Rob's joining the half, Rob Kovac. So I'm looking forward to folks to join.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I'm unavailable for both of those. So, darn, I will not be a part of that with you, unfortunately. But I will be cheering you on, as I always do. So don't worry.
Yeah.
And I also want to say, if you come through the Midwest, we're here in Kansas. We'll show you. We'll take good care of you. Come through. I'd love to see you here. We have a good time. We have some good barbecue. It'll be a great time. Don't worry. Good.
I am thinking. All right. So picking one up. Somebody is saying, iocane powder. My concern with the price increase is fewer subs means a potential smaller cut to the streamers as they're determined by sub points. So it kind of feels like both streamers and subscribers are footing the bill here. That's not the case. It's not determined by sub points. It is the fact that in terms of qualifying for 60-40 and 70-30, if your direct subs go down meaningfully, I think that will be a very tiny thing for streamers, okay, in terms of we've seen lots of support for people qualifying for the Plus program. So we do not expect this to affect Plus program membership really in any meaningful way. And basically, we're kind of in this with our streamers here. We're doing this because we think it'll make more money for them. It's good for us. If it's good for them, it's good for them if it's good for us. So that's in general how this works. And, we're using a lot of data to try to come to this answer.
Gotcha. I did see a question that I thought would be a good one. And, answer this if you can or not. I think it was Cherry Necessary asked if, and to paraphrase, because I caught the question, but just not word for word. Since the prices for subs are going up, is there a chance that the price of Turbo will go up?
Yeah, we adjusted the price of Turbo recently. Turbo also is more associated with ads-free. So right now, we already made adjustments there. We're not expecting any short-term changes in the Turbo price.
Gotcha. Okay. There you go, Cherry. And then I was seeing one from a certain individual who wanted us to ask one about followers and whatnot. But you know what? I'm actually just going to direct you to the Creator Camp. Go and check out the Creator Camp, and that you might have your question answered there. It's not a might. You will. So I would definitely recommend you check out the Creator Camp. And not that I'm biased, because that's what I work on. So yeah. Hey.
Yeah. So the Indie Legend asks, why not make an official Twitch account that's literally only meant just to host one random Twitch streamer a day? This would really help the 1 to 5 viewer streamers. The Indie Legend, the reality is the thing that works so well for Twitch is the community that forms around a streamer. And so the channel that you're talking about, I don't think you get that sense of community. Now we now have expanded our recommendations to try and get, smaller streamers able to fit into our recommendations. But the reality is, if you're a small streamer, the way that you can grow your channel is through collaboration frequently, because it takes time to find out that you enjoy the streamer. I know, for example, when I stream, I frequently allow some of the folks in the audience to come up and chat with me for a little while, and some of them are streamers and some of them are 5, 10 ACCV streamers. Okay. I know, and larger, right? In fact, some of the folks I see in chat are folks that watch my stream and I brought up on stream and they talk. The key is to find somebody that stays with you. It takes time. It's not just they appear, you go. And so that's why we're investing a lot in Stream Together, to try and make it very easy for impromptu collaborations, because you need to see someone once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. And that's how you get a sense for them as a creator and for their communities. And so I know it's challenging for smaller streamers. There are a lot of smaller streamers out there that want to grow. And my best advice is spend time in other people's communities, first of all. I think whenever somebody says, I want to grow, the best way to grow is spend time in other people's, being part of communities, because then they will go and watch you, members of that smaller community. And do it in communities that are, if you're a 5 ACCV streamer, go watch a 30 or a 40 or a 50 or 100 ACCV streamer and spend time there. And then find other streamers that you collaborate with regularly. And then the foundation is be good at creating content. Because in the end, a huge part of this is learning to engage with your community, learning to keep things interesting. By the way, I didn't mention streaming on a regular schedule is challenging. I know it's challenging for small creators, and the reality is all of them aren't going to grow. But a lot of our investment in Stream Together is to help them.
Yeah, and I mean, and so just kind of like piggyback off what you said of like being a part of other communities, it's like, if you're somebody who is already creating content, get to know other content creators, not just for the fact of, I think I can grow by being near this person. Go and befriend people who have similar interests to you, who stream similar things to you. Maybe you start streaming things together. You guys are having fun together. People like to watch things that are fun in most cases, as we've seen. And so if you're having fun with a group of people, there's more likely a chance that people are going to watch. And Dave also nailed it. Consistency is key. Consistency is very important, because you're not just fighting with, the time that you have to stream, or, when other people stream. You're literally fighting against how everybody parcels out their time, period. Everybody has a life that they're doing many different things, and, to be able to carve out just that little bit of time to watch somebody who they really enjoy, that's a big choice. And so there is a lot that goes into also deciding how that's going to bring people to your stream as well. And like I said, I'm also going to float the Creator Camp again, because we do talk about this a lot on the Creator Camp, and we'll also talk about it, a lot of this more at length at TwitchCon if you're able to come to TwitchCon. So I know that we are coming up on the close of the show, but I really do appreciate y'all watching and listening, and Dan, thank you for being so open to just answering questions that are in chat. I really do appreciate that. It makes things a lot easier from my perspective as both a host and a producer. So thank you, I appreciate that.
So I'm going to pick out one of the questions somebody left here, and it's a topic that I've thought a lot about. And the question, this is from Freebull, and it's about how about leaving the idea of what he calls perma-growth is necessary. Revert more to sustainable company stability, better for the world anyway. For many, sometimes there's this idea that something always needs to be growing, and you always need to be getting bigger. I know this is actually one of the challenges for our streamers. I think one of the biggest challenges for streamers is they get caught up in their ACCV and that number, and that's the average concurrent viewers. And in fact, if it goes up and then it goes down because they grow for a little while or they do something. Like one thing that streamers often do is they resist if they've gotten traction. I was talking to one streamer at the Streamer Words, and they talked about how they had been playing this one game. Their ACCV was up at around 1,500. They're feeling good, but they wanted to go into variety streaming and do different things, right? And when they switched, it went back down to, 100 to 200, and now they're back, plugging away to get it back up. And they said now it's like about 800 and 900, but they're happier, right? They're happier because they decided they didn't want to keep, but it was hard for them because at some level when that number goes down, you feel like, oh, I'm not as, successful. And I think this concept of you always need to grow is something, it's very natural for humans biologically, right? We're always trying to get ahead. We always want more. That's, one reason why humans went from, the Mediterranean and the Middle East, where humans first came from, and eventually spread to all parts of the globe, because we always want more. But at the same time, always wanting more, sometimes it just leaves you on a rat race because you're always yearning for more. And interesting, this is one reason why I've always, I think it's important for our policies to not encourage this, because you feel good when it goes up, but you feel bad when it goes down. And then you feel bad when it doesn't go down. And streaming needs to be something you love, that when you're done, you feel good about it. And so I agree with this idea that in general, as a company, we have a job where we have all these streamers. I want Twitch to be bigger. I want Twitch to be a lot bigger. I want Twitch to reach a lot more people. And that's because I deeply believe that the community experience offered by Twitch is a need that we all have. We all yearn for community. And in today's world, I've lately been coming to call the other social networks anti-social networks, because sitting and swiping on your phone isn't particularly social, even though we call them social networks. And that, in fact, Twitch is social, and it's community-based. And so I think it really meets a human need. And I think there are lots of people who don't understand Twitch and don't understand how that community experience can be really a meaningful part of their lives. So I believe there's a huge opportunity for Twitch to continue growing. But aside from that, the thing I do know is we have millions of creators that depend upon Twitch for what they are doing today, whether it's funding their life or whether because they enjoy the community that they experience. And we have a responsibility to, and I've said this many times, to make sure Twitch is there, not 10 years, not 20 years, not 30 years, 50 years, 70 years, because the reality is Twitch is unique. And I think the other platforms that do live streaming are not the same as Twitch. That's why the community expects a lot from us. And so I agree with this idea, and I think this is a great way to wrap things up, that ultimately we have a job to continue to serve, even as we try to continue to grow the platform.
Agreed. And I also will say, yes, I vouch for that. But thank you so much for saying, I think that hearing you say that is really important for folks to actually take in. So thank you for being the person to say that today, because I feel like that's a really important message. Well, yeah, seeing as the light is going off in your room is telling you to leave, we can start wrapping up now. So thanks to Victor for being here. There you go. Victor, thank you so much for your time on the show today. Dan, of course, as well, thank you so much for your time here on the show as well. And Dan, do you know when you're going live next? When are you going live next?
I'm actually going to go live tonight, I think. I'm in the Bay Area. I probably won't be late. It'll be later, like 8 or 9 or so, but I'll probably get in a little bit of time. I did a really fun IRL stream in LA on Sunday, going to a place, 2-Bit Circus. And A Platypus connected with the founder, and the founder is this amazing guy. And it's basically, they're experimenting it's I'll call it a modern day arcade, where they have a bunch of VR stuff, but they're also exploring lots of physical games that you might play. So it's this hybrid physical a digital game, and they create a lot of stuff themselves. And he showed us around where they think of new games that they may create, and it was a lot of fun. And it's a fun venue. It was a cool place, and so I really enjoyed that.
That does sound cool. I'll have to check that out next time I'm in the area. But in terms of me streaming next, I saw you in there, Gabs. You said Fortnite. I mean, you can catch hands of Fortnite whenever. You just gotta, let me know. 1v1 me. It's all right, Gabs. I got you. But actually, on Mondays now, I've started baking my bread for the week on stream. I decided to give it a shot, and so I bake my bread for the week on stream Monday mornings, and it's a good time. It's very chill, very fun for me. I really enjoy it. So if you're free on a Monday morning, you know where to be. If you want to come and make some bread with me, bars, I'm sorry. But that's the end of this stream. So don't forget and look forward to other Twitch shows. We have Pokemon Day coming up. I believe that's on the 27th. And then at the end of the month, we have Twitch Public Access coming up as well, if not this week. So don't quote me on the date on that. But Twitch Public Access is also soon. You'll see me again there. As you can see, I'm losing my voice, but I'm going to preserve it just for you, Chad. But today we're going to end the show with a raid because, it was a part of the conversation today. And we're going to be raiding Twitch Ambassador Curious Joy, who I very much really appreciate. Again, chat, thank you so much for being here. Dan, thank you for being here. Victor, the production team, thank you all for being wonderful. But this is us signing off for this Patch Notes, and I will see y'all in the next one. See ya.
Thanks for being here. Take it easy, everyone.